let's try something new now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Breaking the Bread TV. I'm the host for today, JC, here with a couple special people today. As usual, we got Mr. Six Love himself, Tommy.
Whoa. Wait.
What do you mean, whoa?
All right, cool. You know what?
It's not a bad thing. I'm saying, you give out Six Love. What?
Oh, I thought you said I was catching up.
Why are you getting emotional?
Because you know why? You know why I'm getting emotional?
Why?
Son, an anomaly happened the other day. Okay? A strange event in the time warp, like a split in the universe, crashed.
Really nice.
And Mark gave me Six Love. So when he said Six Love himself, I thought you were bringing back the memories of having that crashing moment.
I ain't trying to bring back that trauma right now.
Yeah, respect. Yeah, can I be giving out them
worries.
Six Loves? Yeah, I mean, man, love JC.
No worries. We also got a nice special guest here joining us for today's conversation. Tonight we have Christina here. Welcome to Breaking the Bread TV.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no worries. So how's everything with you? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. We had a really nice scrumptious meal earlier.
Splendid.
From the chef himself, Chef Pepe, a.k.a. Marky Mark.
Chef
just
Pepe.
come through for a second. Hey, Mark, just come through from the middle a little more. Mark, just, you could do the wave out after. Okay, bravo. Encore.
Just throw him out the scene.
We cook a good meal for my fellow
Keep off the
teammates.
scene already, bro.
For my fellow teammates and my special guest here. And it was a nice salmon dish that I thought of. It was prepared with some red onions, yellow onions, red, yellow peppers, white onion, chopped up some cilantro, add a little 1-2 sauce, seasoning,
You the 1-2, you saying this?
I like whole one.
salad, I was thinking, it's close to summertime, so let me make a summer salad, got my little mixed salad going on and added some berries, like some blackberries, raspberries, cut up some strawberries and that, add a few more red and yellow peppers with a little nice vinaigrette to give it that little touch. And with and last but not least, some little baby potatoes that were boiled / baked and seasoned nice from your one and only chef, Chef Pepe. And I hope you guys like the food.
The food was actually
definitely.
I can't even lie, the food was actually good.
Thank you guys. But I'm not gonna take up too much time. And guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Mark. Thank you for that meal.
Appreciate the meal, Mark. It was scrumptious.
And everyone, stay tuned for the upcoming episode and season of Mark's Moments, coming soon to BTB TV. So, wow, that's a head bust.
Stay off the trees.
Ain't nothing like that happening right now. But Tommy, Christina, I don't know how to feel about some certain news that came up recently. Okay. Have you heard about some of the new laws that have been changed recently?
Man, laws are changing, man. Like, I can't keep up, man. Like, honestly, like, I don't, I have not, really.
What's going on?
Have you heard anything recently?
Kind of.
Well, I don't know if you heard the same thing that I heard, but they recently changed the law where you can now use intoxication as a defense against a sexual assault charge.
Is it only sexual assault?
It could even entail a lot more than that too.
But is it only? Yeah, but I like that. Is it only
against sexual assault or just in general?
Drunk, I can get off with a lot of shit more now.
The law. No. This was
not
just
that. Whatever.
Whoa.
This is a bad. Oh man.
We don't know what you're doing off camera, buddy.
Man. Oh man.
No, but this law is specifically as a defense for sexual assault.
I
so
thought it was against just violent crimes in general.
No,
But I mean, I could be wrong.
this one that I've heard of recently in the news, it was just mentioning that it was for sexual assault, which changes the whole realm of how sexual assault cases are dealt with in Ontario. And
Yo, that's some madness.
like, how do y'all feel about that? Like,
How do they even determine that?
Yeah.
Like that. How do you prove that someone was intoxicated to the level of whatever to claim that?
well, they would have like.
So, yeah, that was a good question.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm just like really like
I'm
head
like, I'm
buzz.
gonna come back with another one too. But yeah.
Because I mean, like when it comes to sexual assault,
Yeah.
there's like a statute of limitations on like how long you can like report it for. So like
Right.
it doesn't have to be like, oh, it just happened 5 minutes ago, let me report it. So how is, if that's your defense, how are you gonna say, yeah, a week ago on this day I was super drunk?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
What do you think, Tommy?
I don't know. This is.
It sounds like that caught you by storm.
This is. I don't know. I'm just a little bit. Honestly, I'm taken back by how the government could actually change that. Like honestly, as a man, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna have. I don't want to go anywhere far left or far east, right? I mean, but what the f are you doing, bro?
And it's
What are
so
you tell-
it's so alarming.
Are you annoying me, dog? Get out of here, bro.
Like, the thing that doesn't really make too much sense about it is because, like, over the past 3 years, there actually have been increases. There's a 90% increase of sexual assault cases that are happening. And a lot of times, these cases aren't being reported. So how does changing a law really stop sexual assault from happening?
I don't think they're trying to prevent sexual assault from happening at that point. I mean, that wouldn't really help. That only helps the attacker.
Definitely. And I think like the people that are changing the laws, I think they're really overlooking a lot of the issues that happen with sexual assault and not realizing that there's a lot of traumatic offense that could happen from any of these attacks. And by allowing someone to have that defense, you're really not protecting a lot of people that are around us. You know what I mean? Like, how do you change something that can affect anyone any day at any time?
I think it has a lot to do with that. It's one of those things that it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. People like act like it doesn't exist because I actually seen a post recently on Facebook that said something about like everyone knows someone that's been raped, but nobody knows a rapist. So like that speaks volumes, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty deep right there.
That's pretty deep.
How do you feel about that comment, Tommy?
How I feel about that comment? That comment's pretty. I think the comment says everything in itself, man. Like I guess I don't know, man. But to what you're saying about the I'm still trying to catch up to what has changed. Like, you know what I mean? To the fact that I don't know. As a man, personally, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the law may have a huge effect on situation. You know what, Frig? I think that might open up a whole lot of situations we don't even want to entail with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because like it can kind of play both sides of the coin. So I don't know. I'm kind of like, it's crazy. I feel like that we even change something like that. I feel like, you know, intoxication is one of like, it's like a big topic. You know what I'm saying? To change that, I don't know. I guess there's a lot more involved with that, but it's crazy though.
No, definitely. I think like they're, but don't you think that can also be used in a sense? It could be used in a sense for maybe something accidental potentially.
That's what I mean.
But how do you accidentally sexually assault someone?
Well,
Like, okay, don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of girls that, like, you know, you might brush by them and they'll be like, oh my god, that person grabbed my butt.
I'm scared.
Like,
I put my
oh,
hands
I'm scared. Like, I mean,
In
yeah,
a
like,
situation
I'm
like that,
not trying to, like, victim blame or anything like
No,
that.
100%.
But, like,
No.
there's, like, a slight gray area. Like, people are way too sensitive about certain things.
for sure.
And, like, they'll claim things as assault when it's really not. You know, I mean, like, how many times have you been on the TTC and, like, you know, the bus breaks and you're like, oh shit, you fall on, like, me and you have been on the bus like that before. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, like, if someone falls on my lap, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, assault. Like, that's not, you know? There has to be, like, more, like, a clear definition.
That is, like, true, because I feel like with this law changing like that, this is gonna get a lot of people, I feel like, off. Mm-hmm. And not, again, fuck, man, I don't know. You know, you can have a few too many, get yourself in some trouble, but I'm like, I feel like, no, because, nah, man, this I don't feel like, no, I don't know, man. It's kind of a sticky situation, because honestly, why I say I don't know, because it can fall into a situation where, like, for the woman, right, man, home, he's a 9-to-5 work, not to put in the category, but he's a heavy drinker. Mm-hmm. So he's a heavy drinker, and when he drinks, he gets to be aggressive when he drinks. Now, like, shoot, bro, he can, like, say, for instance, now, not to be whatever, but say if he gets a little bit too much, and, like, I don't know, like, almost, like, I know it's sexual assault, you know what I'm saying, but, like, if he gets it too much and gets almost too overboard, would that almost leak into, like, him getting let off because, you know, oh, we can say he was intoxicated?
Okay, but if you can't handle your alcohol or your weed or whatever qualifies as intoxication, you shouldn't be doing it.
That's what I'm
exactly.
Like, you don't need to get white girl wasted every single day of your life, even if you are an alcoholic. No. You don't turn deaf because you're an alcoholic. If a girl says no, she says no.
Isn't alcoholism one of our leading like addictions or problems that we have in, like, society, kind of thing?
It's probably a well-known one.
It's a well-known one. Top is up there.
It's up there.
I mean, from legal things.
So, like, yeah, man, I don't know, that's crazy, bro.
No, it's quite insane that, like, we're actually living in a time where, like, we have laws like that actually are being changed. But do you think that we need to find or reform the way that we change these laws as well too? Like,
what do you mean by that?
Well, like, you know how earlier we were just saying, how could they change something like that? You know, how come, like, when they're making these laws, they don't consult the general public, really?
Because why would they? That's not in their best interest.
Oh, I think that's for another
Supposed to
conversation.
be there?
I'm just saying, you know, if you think about it, like, on a female point of view, like, I don't know numbers or statistics or anything, but majority of the people making the laws are men. Okay, and mind you, a female can sexually assault a man too. So it's not necessarily a gender thing, but historically speaking, men are usually the aggressors and women are the victims. True. You know, and you can't make a man in charge of women's rights. You know what I mean? What does a man know? It's, you know what I mean? You can argue that with anything, like, you know, with everything that's going on now, like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
That's a good point.
I'm just saying, like, you can't, I'm not comparing it, don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing it. There's men lawmakers that are there saying, like, you know, women shouldn't have abortions, or women shouldn't do this and women shouldn't do that, and it's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why? What gives you the right to tell me what a woman should or should not be able to do? You're not a woman.
But see, this is like the government that we're putting out there. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true. I don't know what to say.
I mean, just
to that.
Sip my
you gotta sip your tea away.
I wish I had some tea to sip too.
But Christina brings up a lot of great points, though, you know?
That is a really good point, man. Like, I never, honestly, that's true. Like, I could not, honestly, as you put it in that perspective, I really would say it's kind of ill-advised for somebody to be governing or to make rules about somebody or whatever if they don't actually, if they're not that person or live the life of that person or even know how that person lives or relates or what it feels to be like that person. So yeah, I'm with that. That's true. Yo, man, like, man, I always said I'm for the women. Okay, I'm saying, like, situation, but, like, again, like, come back to this situation again, I feel like, this might put a lot of more strain. Like, I don't feel like, you're probably right. This law that was written, like, amongst a lot of ours, I really don't feel that the people who are writing them are not really understanding what they're really trying to go through. Like I'm saying, what really they're putting down on paper and how it really may affect the outer cascade of things. I'm saying, so yeah, I mean it's true. That's great. That's why I don't know. I don't know why they would change. I don't know because it doesn't make any sense. Especially in the situation we have a lot more with the Me Too movement and everything going on. I don't see why they would like. I don't see it, so it doesn't really make sense. Like for men and women, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like what you said, even though women have throughout time have been, of course, the oppressors in men. Because I'm not gonna lie, men do write a history. We do. Go, man. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You better stop for that one.
I'm joking. No. But shoot, men have been the history writers of a lot of things. So it's like to come back and be like, for them to instill this, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really make any sense for that to go through. So I don't know.
Well, maybe we can like. Maybe some way, somehow, they just have to find a way that they can reach out to more people. Because, like, you ever see on the news sometimes where they say like, they do these surveys that most Canadians do this and that. Do you ever get those surveys?
No.
Huh? What's this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Okay, let me give you a
what's it?
Okay, you know when you watch Family Feud and they're like 100 people were surveyed.
Yeah, I'd never have gotten
All
this.
right,
Have you ever
all
gotten
right.
that?
right? So it's
All right.
like,
I don't know where they get it from.
They're their own
that's
family
the
members.
problem. Where are they? Who are they talking to
They're
get these
surveying the other
opinions?
Hold on,
politicians.
no, wait, no. Are these laws changed off of surveys and statistics?
No, they're not. But what I think that maybe they should
They're
try
using it for opinions.
exactly. I think that they should try and like maybe incorporate something where like you could send it out to a lot of people. Like, you know, they have like the Amber Alerts, for example. Send it out to like people that register and allow them to put their opinion. Like put like yes, if you agree, we should change this. Maybe no.
Or, you know, when they send the census every however many years.
Right.
They should do something like
Yeah.
that too. You know what? I really feel that there's a lack of public. Well, again, too, honestly, public input into. But again, too, we can't really force ourselves. Like I don't really feel like there's a lot of like we'd want to dive into that unless, like you said, it affects us now. Oh shit! Now we're like fuck. So it's just like you know what I'm saying. It's okay, but like I feel like there's really a separation of us in like not politics, but like government issues and stuff like that. Like, probably there needs to be more of a connection or a bridging the gap between them because things like this shouldn't be passing by under the rug without a real public census of like, hold on now. How's this gonna affect us? Where we're going with this? Like, I'm saying, what really are you trying to do, kind of thing, you know?
No, for sure. I would definitely agree. You know what I mean? And I think that if we're going to be voting these people in, there has to create some type of level of transparency so that after we're able to still have a platform. Because with some of these other movements that are going on, like the ones that you've mentioned, they always tell us, oh, make sure you're voting for these people. Vote for the right people. What's the point of voting for people if they're not looking at our best interest? You know what I mean?
True.
I think...
But that's another topic, but I feel like we've been having a lot of people in power and a lot of people who are not really reflecting our interests. So I feel like, again, it's a lot of
But it's a historical thing.
It's a historical thing. I can say it's really a historical thing. With
like-
this, no.
People are just like starting to open up their eyes in like more recent years, you know?
Even like recently now, like more people are seeing what's happening in long-term care homes. A lot of times, it's over 80% of people that are in long-term care homes, mostly women, are being sexually assaulted. So imagine, like, yes, a lot of seniors get sexually assaulted and abused in these long-term care homes. So imagine,
I'd kill a man if my mom was Sorry, that's crazy.
like, it's insane. You know what I mean?
Are you kidding? That's crazy. Wow.
With a lot of things like these happening, even like
that's crazy. Man, that's crazy.
I know there's a couple other colorful words you want to use right now to describe it, but that's the whole issue, I think, with this whole law. It's like there's so much stats to show and prove that there is a major issue that's going on. Not a lot of people are reporting it. A lot of people that are being sexually assaulted, some are under the age of 18, and a lot of times they know their assailant. You know, these are people that they interact with in their everyday life sometimes.
I just feel like a lot of the ones that do get reported are the ones that it's like random, like on the street type of situation. Like when it's someone that you know, whether it's a boyfriend or a family member or whatever the case may be, like people have more fear because it's like you have to live with that person in your everyday life, you know? And it causes so much problems.
So you feel like that's why you feel like, wow, do you feel like there would be more rape coming out? Like women would say, do you feel like there's a lot more?
I just
rape
feel like, well,
counseling
first of all, okay, what I was trying to say is that like the amount of cases that get reported with the amount of cases that actually happen is like astronomically different. But I feel like with this now, a lot of people are going to use intoxication as an excuse as to why they're doing what they're doing. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, if you're sick and twisted in your own head, you're going to be sick and twisted with or without alcohol.
Straight up.
You know, if you can't understand what no means, you can't understand what, like, someone's fighting you, someone's trying to push you off of them and you're still going for it, like, you're sick in your head anyways, you know?
Yeah, dog.
But, like, now it's like, you know, anyone can be like, oh, I was drunk, or oh,
That's
I
what
was
I feel
high.
Like that's when the trouble is going to get into 100%. I feel like that's a lot of
But you
trouble.
can't even prove that they were drunk or high. How are you going to prove that?
And
If
men
I
and
reported a
women.
year from now, how are you going to prove you were drunk?
You can't. You can't. But that's what I'm trying to say. How do they, right, come back into you saying, how did he making these laws? Because even with that, how can you come back and say a year later, oh, I was, like, I mean, where do these things stick? How are you going to make these things, like viable? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It's honestly a really sticky area. It's a really sticky subject. Again, with every situation, with the situations going against women, it sucked to see this situation, something like this happen. I really feel like this law is going to really have an effect on women, majority, and men. Not to say men too, you know what I'm saying? But there's going to be abusers on both sides of the coin. But, like, yeah, man, I really feel like it's going to be more of a detrimental thing for the women. So, because, yeah, I don't know. It's sticky, yo.
As of around like 2017, the conviction rate for people that commit sexual assault was about 46%. So less than half of these cases are being convicted as guilty.
In America?
No, this was for Canada.
Canada?
For Canada. So now imagine that.
Canada has some skeletons.
Does that mean, like, after, like, they went all the way to trial?
Yeah, going
And
to
then-
like adult criminal court, only like 46% since around
Actually got convicted.
convicted with as guilty. And we're now changing this law, so now that number is definitely going to be a lot lower.
It's going to be a lot lower.
Like, do you
Because
think
a lot
that
of those cases might have had alcohol to induce with those situations, yeah?
exactly? And right now, like the maximum imprisonment that you could get for sexual assault is 10 years. Where, mind you, the victim, they have to live with that for their whole entire life. Like, do you think that we have to change the penalties for sexual assault so people understand it's a more serious charge?
I mean, at the end of the day, my thoughts on the prison system are, like,
Yeah, it's
completely, like, a whole other topic. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, if you're an abuser, if you're the aggressor in a situation, like, the aggressor doing time is not gonna help the victim heal either way. So whether they do 5 days or they do 5 years or they do 50 years, like, at the end of the day, like, if I'm hurting, I'm gonna hurt regardless. What is that gonna do for me? You know what I mean? And as a female, like, I've been in situations where, like, you know, you ask the police for help, you know, you have an abusive boyfriend or whatever the situation may be, and they kind of just, like, brush you off, you know, and they'll be like, oh, just ignore him, or, you know what I mean? They don't take it seriously as it is, so maybe that also factors into why there's so little convictions.
Possibly, yeah. Tom, what do you think?
Bro, fuck, man. That's pretty crucial. So I'm not, no, I'm saying it's rough, bro.
Well, what do you think? Do you think they need to make things more serious?
Like she said, like, a person's gonna hurt when the person's gonna hurt. Okay, I'm saying? So, like, these women are gonna live with hurt. What I think that needs to be done, not only for, I think there has to be, honestly, like she said, like, with the statistics that you even brought, the fact that it's less than half of these situations. One, I feel like there has to be a real, I don't want to say like a real interest. Keep saying, because again, too, there could be some false whatever, but I feel like majority of these women are really coming from somewhere that I'm really in a situation of dire help. Where's the help?
And it takes a lot to ask for help.
For sure.
Like, why do we still? I feel like fuck. Like, I feel like, why do we still kind of have that situation? Like, I'm saying, but like, but again, I don't really think reform, like she said, reform will really be the longer sentence. Probably, honestly, more help for the women that are going through these situations, and more deeply in looking into these cases and really seeing what's happening and what's really going on, and not really, I guess, fluffing it off to a side kind of situation. offer some more, like, I don't know, like, fuck, humanity into the situation. That's kind of messed up still, like, you know what I mean?
Well, how do you think we could provide more support for these women or any other victims that have gone through anything with sexual assault?
I don't know. I again, too, like, I guess as a community, we can, as one, to I guess as a community, to the one these women go, or if they open up to the people they actually eventually open up to, those people just have to actually be an opening air and just a place of comfort for them. You know what I'm saying? A place that they don't feel like that can ever happen again. That's initially it. Not really happen, but like ever again, but it's like more like you have, almost like you feel good with being where you are. You know what I'm saying? You're not feeling hostile, you're not feeling agitated, you're just feeling being there.
Yeah, but you know what though? Honestly, like I don't
know. I'm just saying that
honestly,
is one thing.
Yeah, that in a perfect world, everyone has more support, everyone whatever. But being a female, it's like I've been in so many situations in my life that it's kind of been like, no, I feel like,
just basically don't flip the table.
Listen,
I don't know. I'm saying, I'm listening.
Honestly, like ideally, you wanna support people, you wanna do whatever. But as a female, you know how many times like you're like, oh, this person did this, and it's like, oh, he's just like growing up, right? Like, oh, he's a boy. Boys just tease you, you know, when you're a little kid. They pull on your bra strap or they pull your hair or whatever. The teachers are always like, oh, they just like you. Like that is not okay. Like people have to stop teaching boys that it's okay to do that. It's not okay. I've literally been suspended from school because guys were like sexually assaulting me and I punched them in their faces, and I got suspended. Oh, it's okay, they're boys, they're just teasing you, they just like you. Like, no. Sexual assault is sexual assault no matter how you fucking paint the picture. Sorry. How you paint the picture.
No, 100%. It is. It's true.
Like, telling me you like me.
Consent's a big thing, bro. Consent is a huge thing.
If I tell you no time and time again and you're still doing it. And then the thing is, a lot of females, when they do call the police and they do ask for help, people tell them like, oh, you're a snitch. Like, no, like the snitching culture thing does not apply when it's for your own, like it's your own safety. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go call the cops and be like, oh, so-and-so's a D-boy, someone's selling drugs.
Okay, so you coming from, because again, she's right. I'm not a woman. I have my experiences as a man to whatever, but it's not compared to what a woman experiences in a lifetime. Whatever, honestly. Hearing what Justin just said to us, right? Mm-hmm. Even though he shot me the question, I came with, fluff. She could have said my shit was fluff. Like no, and not to be like, cause that's me as my man perspective come like, oh, well, maybe we need, like, what would you think? Like, I don't know, like, as everything laid out, what would you think would be like a more, like, what would be a course of action that would actually almost like, I don't know.
Well, for one, like you have to stop the cycle like from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like how I said, like a little boy cannot think it's okay to pull a girl's hair.
So then,
like I'm just saying, like, don't get me wrong. There's women that do inappropriate things. There's women that do, right?
I know what you're saying.
If a 5-year-old is taught from the age of 5 that, oh, it's okay, like you didn't mean it or whatever, like they have to understand why it's not okay to do something. You can't just say, oh, it like, you can't brush it off. You have to be like, no, you can't do this. People need to understand. People need to understand, like, personal space.
You know what?
Like, even now with Corona happening, like, I'll be in the grocery store, like, waving my arms like this because people are in my space. Like, you shouldn't be in my space ever. Mm-hmm. You know? I'm just saying, you shouldn't be in my personal space. But people need to learn that from a young age.
You know what? That's kind of freaking crazy because honestly, I heard another female kind of almost reiterate that back, and I feel like she kind of almost bringing up this toxic masculinity culture from like, and it's not all 100%. It's not all. Okay, I'm saying 100%, but I feel like again too, I feel like you touched something, and that's, that's a topic that is, I think, is another situation. Okay, I'm saying possibly us just like getting you talking on that a little bit, or some other people, but I think that's a situation that you're right. That's a cycle. Okay, I'm saying, and I don't think really people understand how deep that goes.
Do you think there's anywhere else in the cycle that we could intervene to try and stop sexual assault from growing?
One thing I feel like there needs to be like a more like welcoming platform for victims to be able to report it and to be able to talk about it, because like I've been saying, people think that there is like counseling and this and that, and you can call the police and you can do whatever, but in reality you can't. It's not that simple. And people look at you like, when you've been a victim of sexual assault, people look at you like a leper, you know what I mean? They look at you like, oh, like you're nasty, or like, you know, something's wrong with you. And like, that's not the case. Like, there's something wrong with the person that did it, not with the victim.
For sure.
You know? So as much as people think that we have, like, there is resources, don't get me wrong, but as much as people think that there really isn't. It's not as open and inviting as people assume it is.
Well, what resources are out there currently right now?
I mean, like, there's lots of like counseling and mental health options, like in general, but like in general, like going to the police need to be a little bit more understanding with victims. I feel like society in general needs to be like more accepting of the fact that, you know, people hurt from different things, and be like, not be okay with it, but like be supportive about it, you know, not look at someone like look down on them like they're less than you, you know?
Right. It just goes to show that just the whole realm of sexual assault, it leads to so much other avenues and roads, that there's so much that goes into such this heinous act, that there's so much angles that we really gotta look at and focus on, and everything as well too. As Christina mentioned, we really gotta start from young. Yeah. We gotta change that culture and everything like that. Change how our psyche, how we're thinking. Because if we're gonna think that this is accepted behavior and it's already ingrained in our head, what we gotta do? It's like I think it was either with you or with someone else. I forgot where the conversation was, but someone was saying that a long time ago, I think during the slave era, when they used to bring the slaves on the ships, they would throw the slaves over, and while they're dying, the blood. So sharks, they always would follow those ships, and now to this day, sharks always follow ships when they see them in water, so because it's ingrained in their head. Mm-hmm. When you see a ship, a body can fall over.
I feel like we have a lot of bad habits that we've ingrained, and that's not to say it's too. A lot of sources are to blame for that. I don't really feel like it's sometimes an individual. I feel like there's a lot of things we've adapted that are bad, that are not really our fault at the same time. But like, yeah, man, I'm as a man, like shit, man, like fuck, I hope like, you know, you don't get no situation or shit like that. It fucking sounds like it's rough out here, bro. You know what I mean?
You know, it's rough if a lot of people aren't even reporting it, you know, because you never know. It could be more common than you think.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, bro, like, I don't, like, because me, I'm trying to put myself in the woman's shoe. Honestly, to God, man, like, fuck, bro. Like, yeah, that's hard, bro. It's fucking hard,
but
man.
like, that's not even just to say it's not only with sexual assault. It's just like domestic situations in general.
Sure.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot of things.
Because, you know, I mean, not that it goes hand in hand, but it kind of does. Yeah. You know,
it's a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? I think it comes back to like almost our topic we said last time. Keep it brief. Like, we gotta start calling out the bad apples in our group, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So yo, like, for like us as men, we gotta call out the bad men and doing those bad numbers because you're making us look bad. I mean,
but
it's not even that. It's like, you know, one day you're gonna have a daughter, you're gonna have a wife.
100%.
You already have a mother.
Don't even say the daughter part, because I'm a killer man.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, what? But if you grew up doing shady shit to someone else's daughter,
no.
I'm not saying you did.
Hey, if there's any woman out there that please come tell me now. I am sorry. Please. Okay, I don't want like death threats or no come kill my team. We're just starting. Please.
But yeah, you get what I mean, like
100%.
No, for
sure.
Yeah, I think that we just gotta make sure as men, like, accountability for sure. Accountability and, you know,
consent. I feel like, yo, big man for men, consent, man. Like, don't get on that press. You know, if Shorty really, I'm saying, she'll say yes if she really wants to, man.
Yeah, just stop pressing on it, like, you know.
Press. Like I'm saying, I guess sometimes, like you know, but it's easy on the pot, bro. Don't let the pot boil too hot.
Don't press ever.
Don't press
No,
ever.
don't press ever.
Ever? Never like a little press? Do it. Okay, time out. Oh my God. No, don't press ever. Don't press ever.
Yeah, before you get the death or
Don't
something like
press
that.
ever.
Yeah, like I'm winding it
Never
up.
press. Dog. Holy fuck.
Never press.
But no, what's press? Time out.
Because okay.
Okay, what's
you
press?
Should I
What's the
talk like
bad word?
I'm gonna talk like openly?
Yeah,
like,
okay, what's press though? Don't, okay, what's press?
okay.
I feel?
As a female,
Yeah. We're
I've
getting
been in-
into the, okay, no. Oh, can hold on, do we have time to?
We still got time. We still rolling.
We're 35 minutes in,
Oh,
so.
okay,
still
what's
rolling.
press? Like, what's the press? Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not the first half, like, you're like, you know, like, man, like, you know.
no.
Like,
Okay,
what's
so
the, what's
I've
the
been
press?
in situations in the past
Okay.
where like you find yourself like alone with a male.
Okay.
And it kind of gets into like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 whatever. They're trying, they're pushing. And you're like, nah, like, I'm good, don't want to. And they keep pressing. And then it makes you almost feel like you have to say yes to get them off your case. You might not mean it in that way, but as a female, that's how it feels. You know, especially when you're in a situation where you're alone, like you're alone in a home with someone, you know, you're alone. There's not someone that you can turn to and be like, help me. Like girls, when they roll in packs, it's so they could turn to their girl and be like, yo.
I've heard that a lot of times too.
But when you're in a situation when you're alone, like if someone's pushing, like you can only say no so many times before you're like, yo, fuck, like, you know what I mean? You just give in.
I don't see,
And it's like people don't see that as sexual assault, but it is.
See, this is where it catches me. This is what I'm saying. I don't understand that because I don't understand the turn on in that.
Like how?
I
guess.
don't understand the turn. That's why I think this has to be a fucking problem. Anyways, yeah,
Something up there.
that's.
But a lot
Don't
of guys
press.
are like that.
That's
a lot
what-
of guys
that's-
are like that
that's
though, and they
what-
act like they're
man.
not.
No, I'm talking.
not
my
saying you
press,
are,
No,
you
my
know?
press is more like, yo, man, like you know, like
Okay,
I'ma
but if
make
you're
you-
pressing me and
you
I'm
should-
like no, I don't want to. Like that's different. But if I'm here like
Yeah,
no,
that's-
hands off me.
No. See,
Like,
now we know the levels of press, man.
no, but even that, it's like
That's true,
if I
that's
really
fine,
want
man.
it, I'll tell you I want it.
Straight up, women are very boisterous when they want things.
All
and
right.
Women, another thing, be very boisterous, as she said. Own up to
Just
what
be
you guys
open.
want. Be your woman. I thought she was gonna hit me, bro. I thought she was gonna hit me, bro. I thought she was gonna hit me.
You're afraid
bro.
of me.
I thought she was gonna hit me. I'm like, all power on the camera. That's crazy. Honestly, man, I don't live a woman's life. You know what I'm saying? I can understand a little bit because fuck, I come from a single mom. So it's like, that's crazy, man. That's messed up. But yeah, just yo.
At the end of the day, we'll never be able to put our feet in a woman's shoes, you know, but the most that we could do is try and understand as much as possible and then try and elevate the next generation, everyone coming up to make that change, you know what I mean?
True.
So by even having open conversations like this, and we're really thankful you're even sharing your experiences as well, too.
100%.
welcome,
That's
guys.
brave too. Respect, man. Thank you.
Because it takes a lot. It takes a lot. Because a lot of times, like, not everyone's able to speak on their experiences. You know what I mean? Because again, it may be too traumatic and things like that. So even for us talking here, we hope that it helps open up the conversation more for you to have with maybe your friends or family or other people that you know about sexual assault. Let's really make a change to
I
like
feel that you
limit
also-
this as much.
True.
You know what I mean? The only way we're gonna start this is by having a dialogue. And at least recently, they actually had a petition about changing that law. The last time I checked, I think it was over 91,000 signatures. So everyone just keep on signing.
And I think with this though, also too, also with your experience and also coming onto it and giving that, I really feel like it gives a different perspective into your life. Like, not just to your life, but into a woman's eyes or a young woman's eyes, however they can mean. So yeah, man, like thank you. It's crazy. So as men, like, you know, we get a little different perspective, I guess.
And yet again, thank you, Christina, for hopping on today's episode of Breaking Bread TV. Is there anything else that you may want to say?
Sign the petition.
All right, so sign the petition and just remember, like, just don't press before you catch that.
Don't press, yo, man. Don't press.
Never.
press.
Don't
You
press.
don't get no
press or
play,
you're getting
and if
those
you do,
hands.
it won't be worth it.
No, you heard it right there. You heard it right there.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Thank you, Christina, for coming on the show.
All right, thank you,
Blessings
and
to you.
you know that brings us to another episode of Breaking the Bread TV. Ooh, good catch. We hope that you like, subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend as well too. Tune into another episode coming soon. Check our page _BTB TV on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, again, thanks Marky Mark for the meal of the day.
Yes.
Shout outs to EJ.
Shout out to Mark.
Shout outs to the
team.
cameraman
Shout out
Kamal
to the
as
camera,
well
I
too.
mean, thank you
And
guys.
shout out to everybody that's been supporting us over this period of time.
Oh yeah, very very big shout out to everybody that's been supporting us and keep us moving through this time. Thank you guys, man. BTB loves it, bro. And we love you guys, man.
Thank
love.
you,
Look out
thank
for
you,
more.
thank you for supporting the Wave God in the kitchen. You don't know.
Ah,
See, what's the problem?
Nothing's a problem.
Mr. 7.
Okay.